Okay, friends, let's try to figure out how to identify the Moshiach. And that really means, what are his accomplishments? That's what we're going to try to figure out today. Identifying Moshiach. And here we're going to see a checklist of his accomplishments as listed by the Rambam in Hilchot Melachim, chapter 11, Halacha 4. Yeah.
Is he just going to be like a regular guy until we're worthy of Mashiach when stuff's going to happen?
So, is your question, is he going to be a regular guy? The answer is no. Is he going to be a mortal of flesh and blood? And the answer is absolutely yes. He's going to be a regular individual. Will he know of his mission beforehand? Interesting. And the answer to that, as I put up in my new book, is not until the mission begins. Now, try to remember from past history. Did Moshe Rabbeinu, at what point in Moshe Rabbeinu's life did he realize he'd be the redeemer of the Jewish people from Mitzrayim? At what point did Moshe, was he born and like, yeah, I'm going to be the redeemer, let's go to Egypt? No. At what point did he know? Much, much later, at the burning bush. Right? He'd already left Mitzrayim as a young man. He'd already come back all those years later. He's like nearly 80 years old, and he's told, oh, by the way. And then he says, I don't want to do it. My brother Aaron is older than me, and he's greater than me. He's like, your job, you go backwards and forwards. He was reluctant to do it. That's because he had extreme humility. However, it was his mission. Same with Mashiach. He will not realize. He'll be a great tzaddik. That does not mean, and this is very important, that he's going to be a tzaddik his entire life. If you look through Jewish history, and if you look at the lineage of Mashiach specifically, it's very, very murky. Very, very murky. We're not dealing with someone who comes from illustrious backgrounds. I mean, there's great people along the way, but hey, we have Yehuda and Tamar. We have Lot and his daughters. We have David and Melech and Bathsheba. We have a lot of things going on. And there's a whole story as to why Hashem allowed it to come that way. There's a whole Kabbalah actually about that to distract the Satan from stopping him in his mission. There's all that stuff as well. But on a basic level, he's going to be a regular individual. He's going to have the same problems. And this is true, by the way, for all Gedolim. I actually had a share on this yesterday. A fantastic share from Moshe Weinberger, which is a life-changing share. If you're interested, if a 3-minute clip is worth listening to, about we have this idea of Gedolim being great individuals, they have no Yetzer Hara, they're born perfect, or they just study Torah. It's not true, and it's not fair on the rest of us who go through daily and, in many cases, momentary struggles. He's a regular individual. He's going to have problems and challenges and irritations, and he's going to have to learn things just as we had to learn for the first time, and he's going to get irritated, and we have to learn pieces of Torah which are difficult for him to understand, and he's going to have to maybe learn calculus if that's the way he came, and it could be a Baal Tshuva. Who knows? Avraham Avinu was a Baal Tshuva, and he started the whole thing going. Right? And Rivka Imenu was a Baal Tshuva. So Mashiach can't be? Come on. Rabbi Akiva was ignorant at the age of 40 years old, and he was a Rabbi Akiva. My suspicion is he's going to have more of an interesting background than someone who was born and was floating around his pajamas his entire life until he was plucked out from the masses to lead the Jewish people. That's not the Jewish way. And one of the reasons that we don't accept Jesus, by the way, there's many reasons, he was all too perfect. Right? Son of God, that's not the Jewish way. And maybe the average Jewish mother thinks every son is the son of God, but not the rest of us. Okay? There is no perfection. However, there are certain things he's going to have to do. Let's have a look at this checklist, which is going to help us identify whether the Mashiach has come. It's fascinating.
I just read the name twice that Daniel, the Navi, said that Jesus was originally the Mashiach,
no.
but he went too far
no,
from
there are.
Judaism.
I've never read that. He knew the Mashiach's time. In every generation, there is a potential Mashiach at any given moment, because, right, Yeshua Hashem Keharifai, Hashem can bring the Mashiach at any moment. We're going to see in the next few classes how that's going to be. However, he can come at any moment, any time, and there are always potential. There's got to be someone up on deck without them even realizing. There's got to be. How can Mashiach come at any moment There's not someone you can't wait and okay, fine, we're going to make him born and bring him up and get through this and get through that, you know. So could he have been? I haven't read a source. Maybe someone writes that. There's always a potential. He did know Mashiach was coming. He was a very great prophet. He was one of the few people in Jewish history who knew the Kates. He knew the end time. Okay, let's go through this checklist. Number 1. We mentioned this one already, but we'll do it again. Min Beit David. He's got to come from the house of David. That means he has to be a direct descendant of David HaMelech, tribe of Yehuda. You're going to have to prove that. How? That's going to happen in the future, whether a book or genetics. I don't know, right? It's 2017, anything's possible, you know? Number 1. 2, he's got to be learned in Torah. There's been many false messiahs, not just the famous ones. I heard Rabbi Beryl Wine once say in a shir, more Jews have died from false messiahs than anything else in world history. You know? False messiahs have been a big, big problem for us. Okay, men that were not learned in Torah. He's got to be learned in Torah, hogeh b'Torah, and know it. Okay? That's number 2. Number 3, it's not enough to be learned in Torah, right? You can go to many university campuses around America and they're very learned in Torah or in Bible. That's not sufficient. He also has to perform mitzvot. Okay? It's not an academic study. Right? It's not a bechina. He's going to get a test on Bible study to see if he knows it. And when we say learn in Torah and do mitzvot, we mean written Torah, Torah bichtav, and the oral Torah, Torah sheba'al peh. Okay, that's all mitzvot, not just the Torah, also all the rabbinic mitzvot, the rabbanans as well. Now it gets interesting, and we're going to double click on one of these today, which happens to be one of my most favorite topics, which you're now well versed in because we studied it before in the semester. He's going to have to persuade all of Israel to follow. He's going to help people to follow Torah mitzvahs. Now this is getting interesting. To learn Torah and follow mitzvot. It's not enough, according to the Rambam, that this individual has been sitting his entire life in a Beis Medrash, in a Bet Midrash, studying, knowing the entire Torah, and not even got involved in the world. Right? Any great person, any great gadol, any great posek has to be involved, teaching, learning, understanding people, knowing people. How to, a great posek, when you see the difference between them, a great rabbinic leader is someone who understands, there's nuances. You can't study Judaism just out of a book. There is interactions. You have to learn from a teacher. You have to understand how to apply, deal with people, situations. Okay? And he's going to inspire people to learn Torah and do mitzvot. He is someone who's going to work in kiruv. Right? Whether it's kiruv rechokim or kiruv karovim, but he's going to be a man of the people. Not some academic who happens to know the entire Torah and has no social skills. Okay? We're going to assume he's going to be charismatic as well. Okay? So he's going to persuade all the people to learn Torah, follow Torah, do mitzvot, and if they're ready to do it, to strengthen it, to give them chizuk. Give them chizuk, says the Rambam. Number 5, V'yelachem milchamos Hashem. He's going to fight the wars. Now this is a tricky statement of God, okay, of Hashem. Now this is a tricky statement. Is this actual wars he's going to be fighting? Well, we're going to see later on, we'll discuss Gog and Magog. It seems that Mashiach ben Yosef and Mashiach ben David are going to have some dealings when it comes to war, whether actually themselves or leading people. We'll see the Mefarshim who actually say that. Okay? However, he's going to be active and involved somehow. These may not just be spiritual wars, but physical wars as well. Okay? Whether leading or advising or something, we're not sure. Until it happens, we don't know. But there's going to be wars, presumably. Says the Rambam, after those 5, look at his words. Hare ze b'chetkat shehu Mashiach. If he does those 5, you can be pretty assured, presumed he's Mashiach. But it's not definite. Meaning there could be people in history who do those 5 and may not qualify as Mashiach for other reasons. So there could be people who come along and do pretty well when it comes to this, but don't go the whole way and don't presume to be the ultimate Messiah and Redeemer of the Jewish people and the world. However, he's going to add 3 more. And these 3 are going to put this individual into the absolute definites. Okay? So these 5 are the presumed. You do these 5, you're on good ground. Says the Rambam, however, there's 3. We're going to see all of it's coming from the prophets. The Rambam's not making this up. I'm going to see a number of them today. And we'll see many more in the next coming classes, God willing. All this is based upon the words of the prophets and the Gemara's understanding of them as well. So let's do 6, 7, 8. So I'm going to list these separately, 6, 7, 8, because this is a whole different level. Once you hit these 3, Mashiach has come. Put on your nice fancy Shabbos clothing, go out into the streets, and start dancing on the cars like the Breslov Hasidim. I don't know who was doing it. If he continues these wars, says the Rambam, and he is successful in doing them, and fights them off, so he fights the wars, wins, and pushes back the other nations. This is all around Israel. That's already something else. Now he's not just fighting, but he's being successful in his mission. Then that's a good sign. Now 7 and 8 is where it gets very, very sticky. Very sticky. Number 7 is he builds the Beit HaMikdash. Says the Rambam. He builds the 3rd and final temple that will remain standing forever. And look at his words. Ubana Mikdash bimkomo, in its place. The Rambam writes it down. What do you mean in its place? Could you build a Beit HaMikdash not in its place? The answer is yeah. Yeah, absolutely you could. Build in Haifa, Tel Aviv, Elat, right? And the answer is that's not going to work. It needs to be in its place, in the right place. That is Harabait. And by the way, when we say in its place, we mean exactly in the right place. And we said that one of the things that Ezra was able to do, as being a Navi, having Ruach HaKodesh, to know where the implements and where the various items, where the Mizbeach goes, where the Kodesh Kedoshim goes. That is not a simple task. Right? That is part of his ability to, as we mentioned last class, to sniff out, literally, the right place through his prophecies to know where exactly each item goes. It has to be in its exact place. Little problem. Right now, Al-Aqsa and a mosque are on top. Okay? But as we said from last class, it's very possible, and God willing likely, that other nations will rejoice at this point and gladly and willingly give us, although we actually have control over it, but give us full permission to do that. Now that's a big miracle. And number 8, and that's the one we're going to focus on today. Number 8, he's going to have to gather the Jews together. Gather the Jews from all over the world to Israel. Okay, so to gather together all of the Jews from the entire world to the land of Eretz Yisrael. Kibbutz Goliot. Bringing our brothers and sisters, us included, from the exile to Eretz Yisrael to live and be in Eretz Yisrael. The Kabes Nidche Yisrael, says the Rambam, Hare Ze Mashiach Bevadai. That happens, he does these 5, right? They're not mutually exclusive, and he pulls in these 3, you got it. You found the Messiah, and that's it. If he doesn't, if someone pops up in history and they don't build a 3rd temple, or they don't bring Jews back to Eretz Yisrael, or they're not learned in Torah, or they're not direct descendant of King David, very nice. You could be a fantastic individual. We'll give you a gold star and an extra piece of schnitzel on Shabbos, and even maybe some cholent, but you ain't the Messiah. Could that person have been a potential candidate? Maybe and maybe no. Who the heck knows? Only God knows. Okay? So the Rambam has brought down, and this is the definitive list. Remember, the Rambam is the one who brings Hilchas Mashiach. The Rambam is the one who does it. Okay? Without this, this is the basic, and all of this, as we're going to see, is based upon the prophets. Let's have a look at one of the prophets. Let's have a look at Isaiah the prophet, chapter 11, verse 12. And the prophet Isaiah, this is where the Rambam is getting it from, as well as the other rabbis when they discuss this, is discussing this final measure of gathering Jews to Israel, which seems to be a major component. And we're going to see why. Actually going to see this gathering Jews to Israel is not just like, hey, we'd like to live in Israel. We're going to see that it's impossible to be the Mashiach unless you have this. Unless this happens, and by the way, we're going to see that it's part of the pre-Messianic era. We're going to divide it into the pre-Messianic era and Messianic era. So the era itself is going to be making the land is being created and cultivated for the actual coming of the Mashiach. So he may be part of this process, but you're going to see it coming before the Mashiach reveals himself. Let's have a look at the words of Isaiah the prophet. We're on page 59 now. Vaya b'yomahu, it's going to be on this day that the descendant, Shurish Yishai of Yishai, that is the Mashiach, right? Yishai was the father of David HaMelech, right? Jesse, Yishai, and therefore we're discussing, says Isaiah, the ultimate Mashiach. He's going to be Vayobahu. What?
Did you just say Jesse?
In English, they say Jesse, they refer to him as Yishai.
Jesse is Yishai? You said that.
Sorry. Not me, that's what they put him as. Asher Amad L'Neis Amim. He's going to be a Neis the Amim. What is a Neis? Not in this instance, it's not. It's the same word, but it's a different interpretation. The two are related though. A Neis is a banner, a flag. A Neis is a banner and flag, right? When a miracle happens, it's like a banner or flag is being placed in that location. Why is he referred to Mashiach as being a Neis, a banner, or a flag? What does a flag do? It represents, right? What does a country's flag do, right? When you go and conquer a territory, when the men went to the moon, they put a flag on the moon, as if to say what? We own it, right? We conquered this area. This area is ours. It's not actually. You can't buy the moon. That's not the point. Same thing here too. He's going to be like a flag. He's going to put his flag down and say, this is conquered. I am here. I now represent. Okay? And this is going to be for all the people. And to him, Yosef Hashem Shenis Yado, God is going to come a second time. A second time. Liknos Esh'ar Amo, to bring together his people. What is second time? Why second time? Where was the first time? That's from Mitzrayim, from Egypt. That's considered number one. And Shenis, as we mentioned in the Musaf, Kedusha on Shabbat, I think. Right? Shenis refers to the Mashiach coming. So what started at Yetziat Mitzrayim with Moshe Rabbeinu is now being concluded at the end of days with the Mashiach. It's all one continued circle. Okay? He's going to come and he's going to gather together Shar Amoy, Asher Yishar, who are in, and we'll translate this, who come from Assyria and from Egypt and from Pathros and from Cush and Elam and Sumeria and from Hamat, islands of the sea. These locations, we're not sure where some of them we do know, but some of them we do not know. But these are locations around the world. And it says it again. V'nosa nes the goyim. He shall raise a banner to the nations, and he shall gather v'asaf nivchei Yisrael, the gathered people of Israel, unafutzos Yehuda, and the scattered ones of Yehuda, mi'arba kamfos haaretz. Mi'arba kamfos haaretz. Right. He's going to gather them together. You okay?
Wow.
You're really sneezing the truth over here. Let's say that. When you sneeze, it means you're hearing the emet over here. Baruch Hashem. Okay. So that is Isaiah the prophet. His job is he's going to have to gather them together from all, not just from New Jersey and Miami, right, and from France, who can't wait to get out of there by the sounds of it, right, but for the entire world. The Jews are scattered. He's going to have to bring them together, and they're going to fly in on wings of eagles, meaning planes, or they may take ships, or who knows what technology we'll have at that point, and they're all going to come to Eretz Yisrael. Why is this so important? Why is that Isaiah makes such a big deal out of it? Fine, Mashiach comes, we'll all travel back. It's crucial, and one of the reasons is, as we said, that he cannot be in the Mashiach unless that happens. Why? So the answer is, because Nevuah, is that there's a few stages to this, so let's go through them. Prophecy, nevuah, can only occur in Eretz Yisrael. Prophecy, nevuah, prophecy, can only occur in Eretz Yisrael.
So even in a problem, like let's just say you're the Messiah, okay? And you're here. You can't get a prophecy, so you can't
No,
even know you're Messiah.
exactly.
What happened with Yonah?
Yeah.
Very good. So there are a couple of exceptions to the rule. But even those exceptions, he received the prophecy in Israel, but then was commanded to go outside of Israel in order to give it. So even in that difference, Yonah had to go to Nineveh. I remember he didn't want to go, but he received the prophecy in Eretz Israel. They didn't have to go and speak to Nineveh, which is a non-Jewish nation, and travel far in order to give that prophecy. There are a couple of exceptions, but even those exceptions, he received the nevuah in Eretz Israel. So, but that doesn't change the rule. The rule still is, l'chatchila, a nevuah prophecy can only be given in Eretz Israel. So you're going to say, fine, so he'll be in Eretz Israel, right? Why do the Jews out? He'll be sitting there by himself, and go, boop, Hashem comes up and says, hey, you're the chosen one, right? The Moshe Rabbeinu to at the bush, the burning bush, right? The snare. Off you go redeem the Jewish people. Why do we need the Jews there? So in order to get that, let's just see the Ramban on this, so you get it, so you see inside. It says, Navi mikir bacha me'achicha kamoni, a prophet from your midst, from your brethren like me, Moshe, shall Hashem, right, bring you, establish for you, right? Tam mikir bacha, lirmos, says the Ramban, shein nevuah ela be'eretz Yisrael. Mikir bacha means from your midst, from the midst of your people. The midst doesn't just mean from the Jewish people, because there were also non-Jewish prophets. Like Bilam was a non-Jewish prophet. It means only in Eretz Yisrael. Now, there's another exception, of course, and there's Moshe Rabbeinu received his prophecy outside of Israel, because the Eretz Yisrael was not given to the Jewish people yet, right, as an inherent word in Eretz Yisrael. So in Mitzrayim, right, and on the way to Eretz Yisrael, of course there was Nevuah. Of course Moshe Rabbeinu had a prophecy. He was the greatest prophet that ever lived. He was outside of Israel. We're talking once Eretz Yisrael was given, prophecy has to be Mikir B'cha, says the Ramban, and that means in Eretz Yisrael. Okay? Why? Says Rabbi Yehuda Levi the Kuzari, Kol mishin isma be'avalon is nevuah ki im ba'avera. He's ba'avura, I'm sorry. Anyone has prophecy, only has it inside Israel. Why? Because it's for Israel. Ultimately, a nevuah, which is a clear one, sometimes very clear, sometimes a little murky, but it's a direction from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, which is for the Jewish people, and it's going to involve somehow the land of Israel, or what's going to happen in there. So it makes sense, according to that, Kuzari is saying, that it's Bavura is for them, and therefore they're going to need it, and the prophecy must come in Israel. Here is the tricky part. There's another rule, which some people speak about, and this seems to be the derech of Rav Aryeh Kaplan, and he brings this down, based upon some verses, and that is the following. You can only receive prophecy when the majority of the Jewish people are in Israel. Not only, in order to have nevuah, do you need the prophets in Eretz Yisrael, and the prophecy to relate to the people and Eretz Yisrael, somehow, but in addition to that, the prophet didn't just receive, he's going to mountain by himself receiving a prophecy. He's actually, and this is the fascinating part, channeling all the Jewish people as a collective. If the Jewish people are not doing well, the prophet does not receive prophecy, even if he's a massive tzaddik. We see that sometimes prophecy was held back from Yaakov Avinu. It was held back from Moshe Rabbeinu. Why the Jewish people sin? It's got to do with him. He's a great tzaddik. The prophet doesn't just like pluck it out of the air. He's channeling the koach of the people in the land of Israel and the majority of them. So this is very important information now. If we take this idea on board, which I believe to be true, now you only get prophecy from a prophet in Eretz Yisrael, Mekir Bacha, if you have 50.000001% of the Jewish people in Eretz Yisrael. If you don't have that, you have no prophecy. You have no prophecy, then you don't have Eliyahu HaNavi. You don't have Eliyahu HaNavi, who's going to ask Mashiach? Who's going to reinstate the Sanhedrin? We're going to see is going to have to come back in order to Tell us officially that this is Mashiach. It's going to be established. Not just one person comes along, we're like, oh yeah, we believe. It's got to be established. Moshe Rabbeinu had to be there was a certain code word, right? That was handed down through Moshe Rabbeinu to prove he was. It sounds easy, right? Turned up, I'm the Savior, we believe. The Jews don't do that, right? They argue, they elect, right? Then they leave the synagogue and they start a new synagogue down the road. We know what it's like. So that's why it's not that way. The way is that it has to be done in a way that is significant. Every part of the process up to a certain point can only happen if you have Nevuah. He's Mashiach, and Eliyahu Novi who's going to announce him. And by the way, this proves that Nevuah, as we're going to see, is going to exist before Mashiach even comes. Because Eliyahu Novi is going to have to... And when we say prophecy, by the way, we'll see from the book of Joel that it's not just a few people. We're all going to have levels of prophecy. Right? The prophet says that your men and your women and your children and your handmaids, they're all going to see it's coming back. Although the Jewish people are no longer a prophet organization, we will be again. And historically, there were many prophets. The Gemara Megillah tells us there were many, many prophets that existed right through Eretz Yisrael. We don't have recollections of their prophecy because they are not nogeya, they're not applicable to the end of days. The prophecies that we have in Tanakh today have within them seeds of information that we're going to need to verify and to study, which will take us to Mashiach. Once Mashiach comes, we don't need them anymore. And according to the Rambam, incredibly, when we get there, in the laws of Megillah, of Purim, all the books of Navi will disappear. We don't need them anymore because they're just there to take us to Mashiach's arrival. But once he comes, we don't need them. We need the Torah. Torah is always going to be there. We said that already. But the other books we don't need anymore, except one book. One book of Tanakh is still going to be relevant to us. Anyone know which one it is? Megillat Esther. There's something about that story which is a paradigm for the Messianic era. That's what the Rambam says, quite incredibly.
Okay, so it doesn't make sense, everything you just said, because if we all need to be in Israel, like 50%, in order for Mashiach to know that it's him.
That is his
and
mission.
That it's his mission. But the eighth part, that he needs to gather all Israel and
Yes. Doesn't,
so
as a
doesn't make
person,
sense.
that doesn't mean he has to have Nevuah for that. He's going to be a very charismatic, learned person who's going to bring all those people in.
But
That
why-
doesn't mean he's using the level of prophecy in order to do that. That's as an individual, as a person, as a great person.
But are you going to allow a person who you don't know he's for sure Mashiach to build the Bet HaMikdash? Are you going to allow it personally?
So at that point, he's already established he's a Mashiach.
Even if he didn't get prophecy?
At that point, he's going to have, and he's going to need a level of prophecy. He's going to be proven beforehand, because we said not to build the Beit HaMikdash, the temple. He's going to have to know what the stuff is. So he can't do this part until he has the prophecies already come. This is stages, not on one. This isn't one day checklist. This is going to be a gradual movement from his birth, right, of growing and struggling and working on himself, pushing back walls, fighting. Nevuah comes along the way. He used that. We accept him. Sanhedrin is set up. We know his Mashiach. He fights wars. He wins the wars. He builds the base of Mikdash based upon this information the Jews gathered. This is not a chronological list per se, but it's happening over a period of time. It's going to happen over a long period of time. The Purim story, for example. This is that's the paradigm. You read that story. How long do you think the whole Purim story took? Megillat Esther. It looks like, I don't know, like a month. Right? Maybe a few months, maybe a year, 2 years. Like maybe 20 years. It took a long time for it to happen. Now, once the redemption happened, bang! Yeshua Hashem, Keherifayim. Hashem's redemption comes blink of an eye. So that's going to be an aspect to it. Right? But it's going to take time. Just like we said, the plant slowly pushes through the earth and then bang, you got a flower. Right? Or birth. We'll see. Chevli Mashiach is the perfect analogy coming Mashiach. It gets worse and hard and challenging. Birth pains of Mashiach, and then the woman looks like she's going to die. The baby is submerged in amniotic fluid and cannot live inside the air. You're like, she's dead, baby's dead, and in 1 second, baby starts breathing, and you go from the most challenging experience to the most joyful moment. There's a reason they use that metaphor, Chazal, of describing, and actually the 9 months of a baby's entire period of a term coming to life, going full term, is reminiscent, some say, we'll see, of 9 months right before Moshiach comes is going to be the hardest time, and getting harder and harder and harder. Okay, so this isn't just like he turns up, it's happening one day. It's going to happen over time. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, the process has begun. Oh, we're going to see right now, by the way, it's very clear the process has begun.
So if Mashiach comes and we're going back to the time before Chava and Adam sinned, so then like childbirth will be painless at that point. Okay?
This is possibly, you hope so, right? Way after. This is going to be a later thing, yeah. At some point, somehow.
Oh, we're still gonna have babies?
Yeah.
Why?
We have to carry on, we have to live. And they'll all die out and no one left.
No, like all the neshama is gonna be here already.
So that's a good question. Tcheta metim, but we're still going to have children, yeah. And by the way, Mashiach's going to have a son as well. He's going to have a family. He's going to be a family man. He's got to be married with kids. He's not married with kids, he can't get the job. He doesn't know suffering until he's gone through that, you know what I'm saying? Forget everything else. You know what I'm saying? It's like I tell my students, it has to be.
Who said that?
I'm saying it. You know what? I'm saying it. He's going to be married with kids. The suffering part,
How many?
every man. Okay, let's go through this. So let's have a look at Eretz Yisrael. We already discussed it, but let's talk about Eretz Yisrael in the pre-Messianic era. What is the country going to be like? Because we see that Eretz Yisrael so far is going to be a focal point of everything pretty much we're discussing over here. The wars happening over Eretz Yisrael, build Beit HaMikdash, gather Jews to Eretz Yisrael. Obviously, this is it. Oh, this is a nace, and this is a banner. Banner or a flag. Right? Like nace to give her. Okay? Alright. Let's have a look. So first of all, it says in Devarim, end of the Torah, Moshe Rabbeinu speaking to the Jewish people, then of history, V'shav Hashem Elokecha et shvutcha, and the Lord your God will return you from your captivity. And he's going to have rachmanot upon you. V'shav v'kipscha kol hamim, and he's going to gather together from all the nations. Asher fitzcha Hashem Elokecha shama, that Hashem scattered you around the world, right? And it's going to bring you to the land. V'shav v'kipscha Hashem Elokecha misham v'kachecha v'haviecha Hashem Elokecha is going to gather you and bring you el haaretz to the land asher yorshu v'techa that your forefathers inherited. V'yirashta v'tivacha v'hirpacha me'avetecha. And he's going to make you prosperous and numerous more than your fathers. Okay? And Ezekiel the prophet, chapter 11, verse 17. Therefore say to the people, thus says God, Ko amar Hashem, I will assemble you, v'kibatzti etchem min ha'amim, from the other nations, v'asaftichem, and gather together, min ha'artzot, from those nations, those countries, asher nifasotem bahem, which I gathered you, which I dispersed you to, v'natati lechem et admat Yisrael, and you're going to get the land of Israel. It is a prerequisite. The land of Israel and the existence of Israel is going to be very important. And not only that, it's a sign. It's a sign that Mashiach is coming. These are all simanim. These are signs that we're getting close to the end of days when you see. By the way, just for interest, this is a topic that I don't have a social life. This is what interests me. What percentage of the Jewish people today are in the land of Israel? Because remember, according to that thesis, we need at least half. What percent of the Jewish people today are actually living in the land of Israel? What? 30, you think?
Way less.
No.
Less.
More.
Less.
Wait, by Jewish people, are you
Only New York,
taking
you
into
have
account
like
like
a
the people
million.
who are off the derech or don't know?
There's no off the derech. Forget off the derech. Right? Forget non-observant Jews, right? Jews in general.
No, like if
How
you're-
many Jews there are? It doesn't say sinners no, non-sinners yes. We're all sinners. We're all messing up.
Oh yeah.
I think it's one.
So interestingly, well, we could kind of figure it out based upon statistics, but then because there's a lot of Jews who don't identify as Jewish, hard exactly how do we count them? In other words, in America today, you know, we have statistically on census what, 5-6 million, but it could be more because many of them turn around who are actually Jewish and say they're not actually Jewish.
In Israel, we have 6 million people.
6 million,
Jews.
right? We have 6 million Jews we have in Eretz Yisrael today, yeah.
Or maybe
Another
7
million,
million.
right? And let's not forget all the Israelis that left and are selling all that, you know, all that Dead Sea cream in the malls, right? 'Cause they've lowered the numbers and all those like crappy T-shirts. You know what I'm saying? There's a reason why that we're seeing that. You
I
know.
also counted.
You're going back though.
Yeah, I am.
Thank you. We're all going back. It's just a matter of timing.
No, I mean, I'm going
Matter
back
of
like
timing.
this next year.
So Bibi Netanyahu, about 3 years ago, when the Nefesh B'Nefesh flight arrived, stood and said, "We've reached the turning point." He said, we're going to have more Jews in Eretz Yisrael than Chutz La'aretz. He did say that. He did say that. I don't believe it's true either.
And now,
I don't believe it's
why?
true. It's
Yeah.
but
Getting warm.
it's 100%. It's getting close. It's getting very, very, very close. We're reaching the tipping point. By the way, historically speaking, it's unbelievable. You've not seen this many Jews in Israel. Fast, yeah, Jews in Israel. For 2,000 years. 2,000 years, we've not seen this many Jews in Eretz Yisrael. It is epic. It really is epic. It's biblical. I don't want to tell you. I mean, I'm just showing you, right? Just 70 years ago, yeah, I would read you this and yeah, right, sure. Jews in Israel, right, nearly 48 or 50%, whatever, Jews, are like, no chance. Right, we're all being killed in the Holocaust. Right, we're all stuck in the countries around the Middle East. We've got no chance coming back. Germans about to... Look at that. Short Hashem Kerefai, we see something unbelievable. You can't deny that. You cannot deny that. Okay. In order to do this, the Ramban is going to give us a fascinating analogy, fascinating, to how this is going to happen. This is interesting stuff, though. It's cool, right? It's good, no? So the Ramban, Nachmanides, says that one of the ways Moshiach is going to be very, very well known. He's going to have to be. In order to do a lot of these things, he's going to have to be famous. Right? He can't just be like an unknown and remain an unknown and then gather Jews together and build a Beit HaMikdash. This is big stuff, says the Ramban, and this is the analogy he gave. I'm sure there's modern analogies that modern rabbis would give. He says, Mashiach Israel, because Mashiach will gather all the lost of Israel from the ends of the earth, Yim Shalenu Lekochav. He's like Hadorech, a shooting star. That's the analogy the Ramban, whatever it is, 900 years ago, gave so that we could appreciate what Moshiach is, a shooting star. I've always thought why he used that particular analogy. Why did he use a shooting star? I could have said like a leopard or an eagle, you know? But it's not enough. It's got to be a shooting star. Well, what is that about a shooting star? Well, first of all, everyone sees it, right? Wherever you are, right, you get to see the star. It's up in the sky and it's moving very, very, may not seem it from our perspective, but it's moving very quickly. I don't know what this is a modern equivalent of, but everyone is going to know about him. You know, everyone's going to know about him. He's going to be famous, just like a star shines across the sky. And from one end of the sky to the other end, so too he's going to be famous from one end of the world to the other end of the world. As the verse says, I was watching night visions with the clouds of heavens, and one like a man came. So the Ramban quotes Daniel to say, I'm looking to the heavens and I'm seeing it. It's covering the entire atmosphere is going to be changed and known because of it. Okay? Says the Ramban. So that's part of his mission. Very famous. A known individual who becomes famous right through the entire world. Okay? And any attempt at Mashiach is gonna, in the past, which has been false messiahs, has always followed that. Says the Rambam in Hilchot Malachim, when the true King Mashiach comes, meaning there have been others who were not true, Veyatzliach, and succeeds, V'yaram v'yanaseh, he will become elevated and exalted. As the Rambam. We look at the Ramban, now the Rambam. Immediately, miyad, straight away, without delay. Hem kulan chozrim v'yodim. Every single nation. Why is it important? Just tell the Jews, right? Make a WhatsApp group for all the Jews. You don't even need that. Any information for the Jews goes straight to, right? Everyone finds out about it. Right? One video gets out there, we all know about it. He's like, it's not just for us. The entire world is going to be redeemed and go through an amazing change. Hen kulan, the entire world. Chozrin v'yodim. They're going to return and they're going to know sheker nachlu avatehem, that their forefathers and foremothers sold them sheker, falsehood. All their religions, all their beliefs, gone. That's why it's important. He becomes famous. Not just for the Jews. We're going to find out within 2 minutes. We're going to hear it from the guy next door, right? Everyone's going to find out. Jews, spread information. There's one cheap flight to Israel and finds out about it. It sells out in 30 seconds. You know what I'm saying? Kal v'chomer. Ben kal v'chomer. Jews and non-Jews are going to know about him, right? And you know that their prophets, quote unquote, says the Rambam, and their leaders misled them. They misled them. So it's going to be a massive revelation. Not this shooting stars at the Rambam. Is not just for the Jews, but for the entire world. Right? Jew and non-Jew to know, because they're all going to be impacted positively. This is a good thing. This is not a bad thing. This is Achrat Yamim. Not the end of days, right? But the days to come. Okay? Okay, what time we have? 11:20 we have over here? Okay, I'm going to stop the class over there because I want to give you a midterms. Back. We will pick this up, God willing, on Tuesday. There will be no class on Thursday, but there will be on Tuesday.
Why not? Is it Thanksgiving?